else for that. Oops, sorry. Edit that out.
And that's when the banana fell out. So this is session 5 of Night Black Agents, Night Slow Agents, Dracula Dossier, and whatever other title I gave it. I can't remember the other title I gave it. But that'll do. So, a quick recap. Very short session last week.
Oil rig.
Time.
Oil rig. There you go.
Oil rig. Essentially, you discovered that there was a number of Marines and SBS and SAS soldiers that had died in training exercises. However, another search of the internet, shall we say, and it was discovered that some of these guys are actually still pulling money. They're still pulling pensions and they're still earning. So there's a list of them, and they were all assigned to a stone frigate called HMS Proserpine. There's a brief history of Proserpine being a ship, blah, 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 and the name eventually got issued to a stone frigate. And the reason why the Navy does that is they can have an on-land base called HMS Proserpine, but the naval sea rules apply. Mutiny and whatever sea rules they are. So a stone frigate is essentially a base. You also discovered then, after going and finding this, you picked a particular chap called Adam Bryce, a 32-year-old. You went to Woodthorpe in Leeds, to number 12D Close, where you discovered that via talking to one of his neighbours, that he worked, he was an oil rigger. So you put 2 and 2 together, got 97. But you then started looking for stone, what they call oil rigs, that may or may not have been decommissioned but are still active. So you were able to get Roddy to find a decommissioned oil rig, or an oil rig that had never been commissioned and was therefore supposed to be derelict in Scarpa Flow, near Scarpa Flow. But this actually has a heat signature from a satellite image that you picked up. So you believe that could be HMS Proserpine. And you are sitting in a hotel in Leeds, trying to decide what to do next. In addition to that, you had a whole host of other clues that you were working on, and you've just followed that one. I can go through some of the other clues if you want, or you have a chat amongst yourself.
I think we have to pick. We had to pick something, right? So that seemed, if I remember from again, I have listened. So it seems that we're focused on this course of action because we had to pick.
Yeah, I mean, there's a whole host of Ireland, Ukraine, Crimea. There was something in Romania.
I would suggest, to avoid confusion, should we focus on what we're here? So if we know there's an oil rig in Scarpa Flow's up in the Orkneys, is it the Orkneys?
Yeah.
So why?
Scarpa Flow is where they scuttled
the British. Well, it was where the First World War fleet was.
Nazi scuttled,
wasn't it? So okay, here's my question then. So obviously Struan has just turned up at this hotel because he had to go off and take the wife and the kids to Spain for a week.
Mm-hmm. Because
that's what you have to do when you're married, and obviously he's got to keep up the pretense of normal family life, right?
Yeah.
So his question is then, why is the oil rig link of interest to us? What is it that we are hoping to find?
So when you found the woman, the vampire and ghoul in the house in North London, she told you a story about how she was infected by Varney in Ireland.
Yeah.
But he was dead, blah, blah, blah. And then just before she died, she kind of had an epiphany in which she said that Varney was still alive, and he was on Proserpine.
Right. So we think so. Then the logic is that then we think this may very well be a secret lab or something.
Yes.
Is
Yes.
that fair?
Or something
Okay.
like that. Yeah. Some base of
Yeah.
operations.
Yeah, for somebody.
May it involve a villain sitting in a big chair stroking a cat? Do we think? Because it sounds a bit like a Bond villain's lair, doesn't it?
It does.
But I
does
like
certainly.
it.
I wondered if it was a prison.
I mean, I guess, yeah. I mean, obviously we have this link, and I listened to last week's, and I know that you did some surveillance on this guy and everything else. So, again, very good investigation to figure out, like you say, the thing about the pensions. And so, it seems like obvious, I guess, that they're using allegedly deceased people to staff this base, and presumably, if we were to look into it, we might find science people and that who are similarly marked as deceased who may very well be up there. So I guess the next question is then, if we're going to go there, which seems to be a good solid lead, but I guess there's a couple of questions that we have to ask ourselves. Like, getting there is a problem because we'd have to fly. Obviously, we'd have to drive/fly up to Scotland, and then get from Scotland to. Am I right, Kevin? It is the Orkneys, is that right?
I'm pretty sure it
Or it's
is.
off the Orkneys. It's sort of up Shetland.
Where's the map? Let's go.
I'm very familiar with Shetland because I've been watching a lot of Shetland recently. So.
Scarpa flows between Hoy, mainland, and why is it upside down? So yeah, it is the Orkneys or the Shetland Islands.
Fine.
Which is the Orkneys.
So I mean, the nearest, so the big town on Shetland is Lerwick, and you can get to Lerwick quite easily. There's like a ferry, I think, from Aberdeen, which takes about 16 hours to get from the mainland, but that's not like super expensive, and also that ferry's routine. So could we maybe go to Shetland and maybe do some sniffing around there rather than, because obviously Scapa Flow is an isolated place, and if we approach what is presumably a top secret military installation in an inflatable with us lot in it, we're likely to either sink the boat or to be killed. So maybe we might be better off, because presumably if they're operating in the Shetland Isles, then they must be getting supplies from somewhere. They must be getting, we may be able to do a bit of digging around sort of more discreetly just to verify that there's something going on there.
So you think if you just look at the maps and apply a fair degree of logic, you can drive up to John O'Groats. There's a port near there in which you can then get over to the Orkneys. Orkneys are the first one, Shetland are the second one.
Yeah, that's right.
And it's Scarpa Flow is in the centre of the Orkneys. It's a
fine. Okay, so I guess same principle. Am I right though? The Orkneys are less populated. Is that right? I'm not that sure. I mean, I'm very familiar with Shetland, but I'm not so familiar with the Orkneys. But I got the impression the Orkneys were a bit less populous because, again, I guess we have to be conscious of sticking out like a sore thumb, if that makes sense. So if we turn up,
So the other thing
Struan, being Scottish, do you have any history or anything? So all the information you know about that you can Google, Struan's going to know because he's Scottish. I assume all Scottish people know.
No, a bit
about their country.
I'm just hang on a minute. I'm just going to go into I've got my online character repository thing here. That's probably a good idea to have my character sheet open, isn't it?
I note that the Scarpa Flow is actually very close to Scotland mainland, much closer than it is to Lerwick, for example.
Yeah, no, to be fair, Lerwick's over more towards Norway, isn't it? That's the Shetland Isles are more over that way. I'm just looking at I mean, you're right, Kevin. I guess.
I mean, Vikings,
fair to
War
assume
Vikings,
some Scottish knowledge.
British Ground. The main thing everyone knows about is the British Ground Fleet were attacked. Were they attacked there? I thought
No, that's where the British fleet was based, because it was the Battle of Jutland. So the actual battle was the big battle was Jutland, wasn't it? But it was Scapa Flow was where the British fleet, and they were reluctant to leave Scapa Flow because it was because it was relatively secure anchorage. So
yeah, U-18 and UB-116 were the two submarines that went in.
Yeah.
And the German fleet after the war were taken there, and they scuttled the fleet to stop the Brits getting their hands on it.
Yeah. I'm just having a look. I mean, so again, yeah, all right. I mean, obviously, yeah, we'll go. I guess it's fair to assume then that I've got a bit better knowledge of Scotland than I do. In other words, Struan has better knowledge. So, as Roger said, yeah, we're probably better off heading heading into mainland Scotland, and maybe trying to find out supply lines. Because again, if they're on a, if they're on a base, they're going to need supplies.
Yep.
And maybe even people from the base may use the nearest, mainland port as R&R, or who knows. But I guess what I'm trying to say is, I guess we don't want to go, hopping on a rib and sort of shooting over there with Sten guns, because it's not likely to end well for us, is it?
No. So in terms of guns and whatnot, you have, I believe, 2 guns.
Yeah, all of 2.
Or 2. I don't believe you got the one gun that.
Sorry, I've just noticed in the islands around Scapa Flow, there's a place called Twat.
What?
There's a place called Twat. TWATT, but anyway.
Who doesn't like it? Let's not do that.
So where are you from?
I think it's fair. It would be amusing to think that Struan was from there. That would be quite funny. Because he is a bit of her, isn't he?
Yeah, I mean, if you feel the urge to update your
Place of birth.
Right, let's just move my Google Maps up to the top there. So Leeds to John O'Groats is going to be a long drive.
Yeah.
I think we looked at going to Scotland by cars at 11 hours, which
it's probably 5 or 6. I mean, hang on a minute. I've got yeah, I was looking. Roger's right. So looking at the map, yeah, I've got the Google Maps up, and you're right. And so, as you say, heading up to the north of Scotland.
But what I was wondering is, do we have the GPS coordinates of this oil rig?
Yes, you picked out a map, and you picked out the image, and for argument's sake, it is going to be in the centre of Scapa Flow.
Right. So it looks like the nearest sort of that looks like. I'm guessing this is the capital based upon the map, but it looks like Kirkwall is probably
I saw that.
probably the capital. That looks to be a big town at least. So I'm guessing our kind of eventual destination would be to get there, because that looks like a town where we could, have a sniff about, and that's very close to Scapa Flow. That's that's
you
Scapa
say
Flow.
that, but if you could make your way to Flotter,
yeah, okay, I see Flotter. Yeah,
there is an oil terminal in Flotter.
Okay.
So you have discovered there is lights on heat source in this particular base, but you could ask around in the oil terminal to see which ships come from it to confirm or deny or not confirm anything's coming from that particular base. That makes sense.
Yeah.
You can actually speak to a human who's going, oh yeah, nobody goes there. It's it's for whatever the official line is.
Okay, that makes sense.
It's probable this is one of those situations where they are literally hiding in plain sight.
So looking
But
at
no,
looking at Google Maps, just to give you a bit of info, I've just looked, and it's approximately 9 hours and 9.5 hours from Leeds to John O'Groats.
okay. So
So
driving, you have two cars. You
what do the rest
have
of us think? Are we better off driving, or are we better? I mean, I take it we don't really want to. Do we want to? Are we going to get any money from Jackson Lamb to pay for flights? I doubt it.
no, can't see. If you ask, you'll just say fucking swim there. You will So you have two cars. You have the Volkswagen Golf that is River Cartwright. I say
You
River
keep putting
Dance.
in River Phoenix, don't you?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And you have Struan's MPV, people carrier. I can't remember what you decided he had. Maybe it was a Saxo or something.
Yeah.
Picasso.
Just so you know, it's had a new sticker added on the back. You know, one of those annoying stickers with like the two parents and the kids and the dog on it. Since he last drove it up, since he last drove it with you, the kids have added that on. So
Dad's taxi.
yeah, so he's quite
Thing is
embarrassed
about
about that.
thing is about those stickers is it tells any would-be burglar or thief exactly who's in the house.
Yeah, well, it's not in the house. It's in the car.
Are you regretting putting the "Don't Vote SNP" sticker on the back whilst you were living in the UK?
I don't think Struan has very strong political affiliation. To be fair, he'll vote for what the wife tells him to vote for, basically.
Yes, yes, that's probable. So, we can montage this, and you can do it in 2 days.
Yeah.
Staying overnight in an Airbnb or a Travelodge. Cheapest Travelodge, £19 a night. You managed to pull off in some dodgy little back street of a town in Glasgow that looks like your car's gonna. Somebody might have
We
to keep.
go via Inverness, actually, won't we? Because the route, it's the A9. So
Oh,
probably
okay.
Inverness is probably the nearest, like the big, the nearest city to John
So you
O'Groats.
head to one of the big cities,
There's
sleep
Wick.
overnight, and then you end up in John O'Groats. Well, not such John O'Groats. It's the
What did you
where's
say
that
the
place?
place was? Where's that? Where's, I guess, the port?
Gills. Yeah, Gills or Hoona. Where's the Zoom? There's
Hey,
two
look, it's
ferry.
fun, this, isn't it? Having a proper map to play with.
Yeah. John O'Groats signpost. No. Pentland Ferries. Because there's nothing. So the John O'Groats signpost doesn't say anything about. There is a ferry dots from there, but Pentland Ferries, which is between Gills and Kirkstyle.
Yeah.
You had a running. I believe you had a credit card with £1,000 on.
Right.
Which you can speak to. What's his name to update if you need more money on it.
It's a Roddy.
Roddy, yes, yeah. And he can simply add a few extra quid. The cost of getting over to John O'Groats is going to be. You can cover that. That's not a problem. But before you go, you're going to get into a big town. Is there any? Because you've just simply got, for want of a better term, civvies, jeans, t-shirts, shirts, ties. You probably all got kind of suits on. You're not actually probably dressed for Highland weather.
Yeah, maybe we need to go to a charity shop, or no, we just go to Primark. I don't know why I'm making it so complicated. We'll probably just go to Primark in Inverness or something and just buy cheap, coats and all the rest of it.
Should be fine.
Yeah.
Yep.
Every big town's got a Primark, right?
Yeah, either a Primark or a Peacock's.
Is it a Muck Primark in Scotland? I don't know.
Yeah, or equivalent.
Or equivalent. But yeah, I guess like you say, for a couple £100, I guess we could kit ourselves out with coats and jumpers.
Yeah. But in terms of other equipment, you were seen going around the back of the house. That you discovered around the back of the guy in Leeds' house. There was CCTV camera.
Right.
You did not establish whether it was a basic Ring doorbell setup, which only he can see, or whether it was a more in-depth. So there was 3 options in essence. One is a camera that records stuff and he looks at it when he gets home. Another one is a Ring doorbell setup where he gets notifications somebody's hanging around the back of his fence and he can look and see who it is. And the next level up is if this guy was died a training expedition, training exercise in Iraq or Afghanistan, and is suddenly still alive, you might find whatever super organization is actually monitoring everyone's houses, kind of thing. And you don't know. You know you were seen, but I don't think you climbed over the fence, did you? Did you break into his house?
I don't
No,
think you did.
No, we
No.
didn't.
No, I don't think you did.
No.
But the thoughts just hit me. Could we get Roddy to look into the internet traffic to and from that address?
Yeah, good idea.
What would you be looking for?
Well, where the traffic's
It's got to be a
coming
live
from,
feed.
to and from.
There's going to be, yeah, because you say if there's video coming from the camera, then there's got to be a live streaming feed going to it.
Well, considering he's meant to be either dead or depending on who you talk to, his neighbour said he's working on the oil rig. So one would assume there would be like minimal internet traffic to the house. If there is a live video feed, then what I would assume that Roddy would be able to would be able to detect that, because obviously if there's nobody living in the house at the moment, you'd expect there'd be nothing apart from, background traffic. But obviously if there is actually active surveillance, then one would assume there'd be data moving to and from. So I guess Roddy would be able to detect that, assuming that the house is connected. That, as you say, if it's just a Ring doorbell, then it would just be. Mind you, it would still be internet traffic because Ring doorbells, they go to the Ring server.
It would. Depending on how he's got his polygon set up, you didn't climb out, you didn't go into the garden.
No.
One of you went up to the front door and looked through the window and then left.
Yeah.
You didn't notice cameras at the front because you
That
weren't
doesn't mean
looking
there
for
weren't any either, of course. So.
No, but there was a camera at the back, which then led you to think there was cameras. So if he's got his polygon set up so it captures anyone looking over the fence as opposed to anyone climbing in, that would notify.
Well, so Roger, as Roger rightly said, I guess Roddy could do a cursory investigation and and see whether anything jumps out at him.
Okay, you task Roddy with that, and he'll get back to you when you make your first stop in about 5 hours.
Yeah, the good news for me, of course, is that Struan wasn't there; he was on holiday. So.
Yeah. So you arrive at Inverness, carrying bags of peacocks and Primark clothing. Get back to the hotel. Roddy pings you a note to say that it's a simple Ring doorbell that is sending information to his cellular account.
Yeah.
However, there does appear to be an extra IP address that's piggybacking off it, almost as if there is an extra feed.
So can we?
Not a direct feed.
Yeah, but it might be that it's being routed off somewhere. But is it? I guess we could ask Roddy to hack the Ring account and delete. I mean, it's not going to help if the footage has been routed elsewhere. But
it says, and it's getting routed to Gibraltar through Gibraltar.
Oh,
that's one of our leads.
Places of interest. Yeah.
So the guys that you bumped into in the hotel in Morocco had been hired from Gibraltar, and the extra strength the super strong guy in the alleyway that you had a pop at, and his weird sorceress-esque girlfriend, sister, female companion, they had a link to Gibraltar as well.
Is it possible for Roddy to, track or get an idea of a location based on the IP to do a back trace to see whether he can figure out where that feed is going to, just for future reference? It doesn't do much for us now, but obviously, if we end up going to Gibraltar, it might be useful.
He'll have a look.
Okay.
But there was pings going to the guy's phone, so
He might be aware that somebody was sniffing around, even though he may not.
Well, he's aware that somebody came to the door, looked in the window, and left, and then somebody else stuck there, looked over his back window and left. So nothing. Didn't try and break in. Walked up to the door, rang the doorbell. Guy in a suit looked in the window, left, went around the back, left. That's probably not as suspicious as if you'd climbed in and tried to break in. That would have looked much more suspicious. But it's an abandoned, it's an empty house.
Fair enough. Yeah,
it's a roll of the dice.
And you used you used a cover story, didn't you? That old army buddy or something. So if he does contact his neighbours, at least there's sort of a cover story in place, as in, oh yeah, somebody did come around looking for you, and said you knew you from the army and all that, which is not going to hold up under much scrutiny, but it's better than it being nothing at all, I guess. So
yeah.
Don't just back. I hope the other people, whoever's watching the video, haven't got facial recognition.
Yeah, well,
that just improves heat.
Yeah.
For you. Anyway, so we are at we're at the Travelodge in Inverness. You're going through your bags of clothes. You've all got I say sufficient clothing. You've got warm coats, an extra jumper, woolen socks. Struan's got a pair of long johns because he knows how bad it is. The rest of you realise that Struan's got some little kind of it looks like a roll-on deodorant, which he's using on his hands and his arms, and it says midge repellent.
Oh yeah, been here before.
Midges are notoriously bad in Scotland. Yeah, they're a bit like dwarves, but that's how I think. That's how I see it. Midges. So there is a chance of getting bitten by horrible, nasty flies.
Well, if he's got some, then I suppose the rest of us better go out and buy a few. Where's the nearest?
This isn't Digger's troll repellent, which he's famous for.
There's the Travelodge Inverness, by the way.
Cool.
Oh yeah.
Well, that's not bad. Stayed worse.
Yep.
So,
what? Halfway. Sorry,
I'm going to say it's Monday. It's Monday morning when you so you've got from Inverness to Dronagroats is still a couple of hours drive. Good few hours drive. You'll get there, for argument's sake, Monday at 12 if you leave shortly. We haven't actually got. Do you know? I can't even remember whether we started with an actual day. Did we start with a day? I might start with a date. Maybe I didn't. How bizarre is that? Okay, I'll work out the date, but it's going to be a Monday anyway. So you'll arrive at the ferry port for 12. So as you get to the ferry port, you get Roddy pings you the tickets to go across, and the information you required was what did you ask, Roddy? I've forgotten.
If he was able to find a
Oh,
location in Gibraltar to where that camera footage was being routed to.
So the camera footage is routed to an IP address. The IP address is linked to a suite of IP addresses, one of which is a website, which is just kind of a single page website with some information about plastic doors. It's really odd, weird, but that particular website, by using a simple Who's It, I think it's called Who's It. There is a service on the internet in which you can put in the internet address, and it tells you who hosts it, where the servers are, etc. And that is hosted in a particular building in Gibraltar, and it gives you the address.
Yeah, so we just keep that information
Yeah.
for future reference. Like I said, it doesn't do us much good now, but it's worth knowing.
mhm. Yep.
Set that aside for future reference.
Server location Gibraltar. Okay. So the ferry will take off. Sail. Ferry sails in about an hour. Your phones are fully charged. You're wearing your weather gear. You look.
I'm also going to before we get going, I'm going to go out and buy myself a couple of battery packs, phone
Okay.
recharge packs.
Yep.
Make sure it's charged, just so in case we do get cut off, we've got power.
I've
No
got
problemo.
a battery pack, but it's got daisies all over it because my daughter decorated it. But it
Yes.
does still work. So
Excellent.
What he's basically got, he's got 3 of those old EE battery packs they attempted to foist on us a few years ago, taped together with the flowers on.
Yeah.
I saw one of those the other day, green and yellow thing it was. Supposed to give them back after
Those are
time.
the things that you used to. You could go to any. Oh no, I used them before. You could go to any EE shop, and you could basically trade. So if you had one with you and it was dead, you could get another one fully charged, and then you'd leave the one that was dead. It was quite a good system, but it didn't last very long. And I think they had a tendency to like explode or something as well.
They were warming up in people's pockets.
Actually, yeah. So I think they discontinued them pretty quickly, but I thought it was a good idea.
Yes.
The idea was great. The technology, not so much.
Yeah.
No. So the next question is, if you in terms of future planning, getting out to Scarpa Flow, you getting out to the oil rig if you wanted to go there would require either suiting up in wetsuits and swimming there with some kind of high-tech scuba gear, or
hiring a fishing boat would probably be
going down, hiring a
fish
fishing boat, popping down to Decathlon, paying you 45 quid for a 2-man kayak, inflatable kayak, and row out. Obviously, you have to row back.
I think your idea was. I thought the idea of the oil terminal is worth checking because, again, supply. So again, and I don't know how feasible this would turn out to be, but obviously, because it's an oil rig, and again, going back to this idea of supply chain, presumably their supplies are transported by boat. It's unlikely they would. They're not going to bother using helicopters or anything. I wouldn't have thought. So presumably, there's probably a local boat which does the trip, to this place, and however often it's going to be. But literally, they if they've got people on there, they need to feed them, right? Whether or not it's high tech, top secret or not. So again, it might be worth having a nose around, and if we can figure out if there's like a supply boat that goes once a week or something, then we could either stow away on that, or we could. A couple of us could try and, infiltrate the crew. Because again, I don't know what the setup will be, but again, it could just be a local fishing boat goes out there. They're paid to take supplies out or something. And if you were to bribe the captain of that boat enough, you might let a couple of couple of us lads, take the place of a couple of his normal lads, at least to get a look at the thing. So I guess those are options, which are, again, I think sort of swimming in wetsuits, and that's probably a bit beyond us, honestly.
The other thing to take in consideration is if this place is sort of like super secret base, it's going to have high security around it. They're going to be watching everything that comes into within a mile of it, minimum.
But like I say, they still have to have supplies, because you can't. You have to get. So again, I guess the first thing is we get up there, scope it out, because I think I saw on one of the Google sites there's you can literally just pay for there's like a boat trip that does Scapa Flow from on the Orkney. You can literally pay 20 quid for a like a wildlife tour or whatever. But so I guess it might be worth doing that first and see if we can get a glimpse of the place and get an idea of it. And I'm sure this boat won't go near that, but the point is we get a look at it, see what's around it. Are there boats literally in the water around it protecting it? Is there not? Is there is there a helipad on it? All that kind of thing. And we could get a look from a distance, and then maybe figure out. Like I said, then you could probably pay a fisherman to take us. Hold on, can you just bear with me one sec? Oh,
yeah.
Oh, it's all right.
So.
Yeah, go on, carry on. Sorry, I'm just calling my daughter.
Also, I mean, it's also about 4 kilometers or more from the land.
Okay, all right. See you later.
We might be able to.
Bye,
I think we should get some binoculars, and I mean, it could be a cover. Could be like at least could be like bird watchers or something.
Yeah, I like that.
Binoculars, monoculars, telescopes. They're, in fact, let's say the very last Jessops in the UK, happens to be in the port where you are going, because the Orkneys will have lots of birds and wildlife, and it is actually making money because it is selling binoculars, telescopes, and other. It's almost become a. So whilst it's not, it's still a Jessop's shop. It's not owned by Jessop's. The person that owns it is running a bird watching paraphernalia equipment shop, and other equipment that you would need to go hunting Vikings and Brocks.
Yeah, good idea.
And whatnot in Orkneys.
Because the Orkneys is a well-known it's a well-known bird. Place for birds.
Isn't it the Orkney? I think it's the Orkneys, or maybe Shetland, where they capture seabirds and they put them in a big sack, bury them for several months, and then they dig them out and eat them.
I don't think they do that anymore. They might have done it in the past, but I don't think
when it was frozen, they don't. But crazy Scots.
I'm not being funny. Shetland's got like a Starbucks, so I don't think they need to bury seabirds. But probably in the past, because again, both the Orkneys and the Shetland Isles, I mean, they are very, very, very much populated by seabirds. So makes sense. But again, it's a good cover, though, isn't it? Good cover.
Yeah, is it the Isle of Arak? I think that's Faroe Isles. That's the one that everyone was forcibly removed because there was like down to 30 odd people.
That's right. It
was terrible subsistence living. There may or may not be a secret base there. I may have invented that. Certainly not the superhero base, which I put there at one point. But that's around the area.
Cool.
Or maybe that's Faroe Islands. Anyway, yes, it's all kind of rural, crazy, windswept, and cold. It's going to be cold.
Very cold and very windswept. Yeah.
Yep. So you arrive at the very port.
That's a good cover.
You can arm yourselves with monoculars. Monoculars are probably a big monocular. It's probably better than a telescope. That looks a bit iffy using a telescope in the wrong way. Rather than pointing at the sky, you'd be pointing at somewhere else. Monoculars, you can get a big monocular. Some of this have to come out of your own money, but we're not dicking around with money, so you can purchase a pair of high range. What they call Really
high
good.
resolution.
High
Yeah.
resolution, that's it. High resolution binoculars and a monocular.
Yeah.
Or a couple of binoculars, one each. That's not a problem.
Also, us probably worth buying some. Obviously, buying some, guidebooks. Birds of the Orkneys.
Yep.
Which you can pick up from any bookshop, and
you got a
map,
rangefinder
like
or a
an OS
pathfinder.
map. Yeah, an
Yeah,
Ordnance Survey map and all that kind of crap. So it
I mean,
looks at
you've got
least
your
engaging.
Google and you've downloaded the Google, and Google Earth will
Yeah.
give you the imagery. Oddly, with Google Earth, the center section where there is
An oil rig.
an oil rig, which Roddy was out to pull off of the satellite images. The center section is got a little. It's a square missing, almost as if it's been deliberately removed.
I'm sure that couldn't happen.
And that's on both Google Earth and Google Maps. When you do the satellite image, it's not there. It's like almost like you've got the 4 or 5 satellite images around it, haven't quite married up to the middle one, but you have got on your phone a photograph taken from a satellite showing where it is, roughly in the centre of Scarpa Flow.
Just out of interest, and I don't know real world whether this is the case, but I wonder, do they have offshore wind farms? So is it possible that the oil rig is, the rig is kind of is in amongst wind turbines as a means of disguise again? Because of course the thing is, if regardless of what they've done with Google Maps, if there's a honking great rig stuck in the middle of Scapa Flow, which again is very big, but presumably people will spot it from boats and whatever, fishing boats and whatever. So I didn't know whether there'd been any attempt to. Is it possible to see from the satellite photo whether there's anything? Have they made any effort to disguise it by having like a wind turbines around it?
Just
Anything
getting
like
up the actual imagery.
I don't
And
think there is, looking at Google Maps, but
here we go. No, Google Maps just shows a big blue spot in the centre.
that's fine. I just wondered.
Doesn't appear to be.
No, it doesn't appear.
The offshore wind farms would be not there. They'd be the other side where it's.
That's right, because they are obviously it's in the middle of the island. But again, if those have been put there as a means of as a diversion or a means of disguise, they might still put them there. But okay, that's fine.
So you can get the boats from Kirkstyle, and that takes you up to Long Hope.
Yeah.
So after hours on the boat, it's not the best condition. It's cold. Everyone's a bit grumpy, and you find yourselves arriving in Long Hope, and then it's a short hop to Linnes, which has a little ferry, which has a little port, and that's the closest you can get to the oil terminal without on this particular ferry. You would need to hire someone to take you across to Flotter. Yep.
How is it from shore to shore, Scarpa Flow? How far out is this actual oil rig?
It looks like it's about. Hold on. It looks like it's about 14 to 16 kilometers across. I'm just looking at the scale on the map. I've got Google Maps up.
Yeah.
So what? The oil rig will be about 8 miles out.
No, it's kilometers, not miles.
Whatever.
It's in the middle. It's going to be what? It's going to be what? Eight. Say, let's say 6 or 8 kilometers out. So that's what, probably 4 miles, is it?
Yeah. Let's say
2 or 3 miles, but
So a decent set of binoculars, you might be able to at least get a look at it from the shore.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. But a boat drive.
I've had a quick look at the Google Maps of the oil terminal, and again, it's all very barren. It's literally, there's a few, oil tanks, but it's not like there's a big town around it. It's just literally stuck out in the middle of nowhere. So.
You are actually, if any of you are feeling like you want to do a bit of climbing, the Old Man of Hoy is it's nearby. On Flotter, there's a very similar one. It's Flotter is where the the oil terminal is.
Well, I guess that's probably a good. Yeah, I'm seeing Flotter, so that's probably where we want to be.
So you can get there is a ferry terminal.
Purely because it's the closest. And like you say, Flotter, yeah, there's a town there, isn't there? So I guess.
Yeah,
Flotter,
it was. There was quite a big town during the war. It had about 10,000 people, if not more. All of the servicemen and women were stationed there.
I mean, it's pretty empty if you look at it now. But I guess there's bound to be a guest house or something we could stay in.
Yes, I'm going to say there is an underrated Airbnb. You could book.
Do we need to get Roddy to create us false IDs, or do we have false IDs? Because we've got one of the things we have is tradecraft, right? So do we have?
You do.
So does that?
Now, did you? I believe Roddy did fake passports from Morocco.
I think he did, yeah.
Weren't they? He gave you stupid names. Pew Pew, Barnagu, Dibblin Chubb or something.
I would have to pass on that one because
I believe we came up with stupid names for them.
The downside of that's not going to fly in Scotland, is it? Because again, it might work in Morocco, but it's not going to work in. So maybe we need to get some new identities.
But that's the only physical identities you have. The only extra identities you have on you is those fake ones that were created to get you into Morocco.
Okay.
It's a bit standing in the ferry port in Lioness Wave.
He's basically a knob, isn't he, Roddy?
He is. He deliberately made these stupid names.
Yeah. So. Oh, actually, because I've got. I mean, again, I don't know about the rest of you. So my so Struan, he's actually got a cover of 10, which is because cover represents your stash of cover identities. And I guess being that we're all, we are. I mean, whether or not we're Slough House or not, we are all kind of intelligence operatives. So I guess it's not a stretch to suggest we might have access to some basic cover, which would. All I'm worried about is if you're going to book like an Airbnb, then you don't want to be booking it under your real name or using your real credit card or whatever that is. It can be traced back to.
Okay, so for argument's sake, anyone with a cover that has cover on their character sheet can have with them a cover ID. Yeah. A credit card or what have you. Passport, driving license.
I've got cover 10 as well.
Okay.
Same.
So effectively, you can lose one cover and you can have a ID.
Perfect.
So basically, it's the stack of passports that you see in the movies and stuff.
Yes. So you got a passport, a driving license, or some will be passports. The old one will be just a driving license and a birth certificate and a credit card and whatnot. So you can use
enough
that
to get you through cursory checks. It's not going to stand up to deep investigation. But if you, like I say, if you need to go somewhere and show ID to get, like you say, if you go to a hotel, for example, and you need to book you need to show some ID, then you've got something that can be shown and it'll look convincing, but it's not going to stand up to like, professional scrutiny. But it'd be good enough to get you, like I say, booking an Airbnb or something should be fine.
Yeah.
Yes,
that makes sense.
Cool. Right.
Just incidentally, if any points are used of a skill last session.
Yeah, you still lost them. I'm going to. It's been 5 sessions, has it? So at the beginning of next session, every point you have spent up until then can be refreshed. That's 6 sessions. You're getting all your points back.
Yeah.
That kind of works rather than find a distinct moment to.
Okay.
So you've got what they're called. You've got some ID on you, and you have sufficient ID to enable you to book an Airbnb in whatever name you want. The Airbnb gives you a code, and the hotel or the place where you're staying, Riverside Cottages, flat 1B, and there's a code for a couple of people,
Okay.
but you can all crash in one place. So you
when
have a
we
place on Flutter.
when we get there, so what we do is I think so we get, obviously we've been traveling for a couple of days on and off, so we probably want to get
Yeah.
there, crash out for a bit, have a bit of a rest, because again we've been traveling. What I think Struan will do is, because Struan's Scottish, so
Yep.
I don't think anyone else is Scottish, so he's less likely to stick out. I mean, obviously he's an outsider, so it's not going to be. He's not going to pass as a local, because, of course, there's not that many locals. So, but I was going to suggest that maybe Struan will drive go down to the village and just basically get some supplies, because we'll need, if it's an Airbnb, we'll need to get food and a basic bit of shopping and stuff. So I think Struan probably should do that, purely because he's Scottish. So although he's going to be obviously not an islander, but he's not going to be quite so obvious as having a bunch of English people suddenly turning up. So maybe he can go down and get the lay of the land. I'm guessing there's probably going to be a pub of some sort. And like I say, I'll go and do a bit of basic shopping and get some like loaf of bread and ham and cheese, and a few basic bits to have something to eat, and pint of
He's going to come back with skimmed milk, not semi-skimmed, not whole, but that red shit.
No, because his wife won't let him. His wife won't let him drink the
proper stuff.
So he's definitely on the skimmed. And while he's down there, he'll just do a little bit of but kind of very basic snooping about, as in
So do you want to make a roll for that? Use intrusion or surveillance. Intrusion, I think.
So just remind me, I have got intrusion. Hold on.
So
infiltration.
Infiltration, that's it.
And,
so it's a base roll. Well, roll 1d6. So you can decide to spend some points on it, and it's not huge. So you got to get 3 or more. I'm going to give that as your base.
I'm just going to roll it, because he's only got 6 in intrusion in infiltration. So let me have a little look here. Oh, okay. Didn't make that then.
No, so he's sticking out like a sore thumb.
Which is, again, that's why I thought it might be better if he goes, because at least if he does, he's Scottish. He's not.
So you go to the shop.
I'm not going to go down to the shop and go, oh, tell me about the oil rig. He just goes down and buys some groceries.
As you're leaving the groceries, there's a tap on the back of your. As you leave the shop with a couple of plastic bags or paper bags of groceries, there's a tap on your shoulder, and a guy with a really, really strong Scottish accent that you're just about catching. He effectively says, "Your label's still in your coat, mate," and he rips the label off from the back and hands you the Primark £8 coat label that you've been walking around with.
And he says, "What? So Struan will say, oh." He says, "Oh, thanks." He says, "Look, we came." And what was the name of the bird you said? Just remind me. You said the
bird.
There was a bird.
No, I said they ate the bird. Oh, pick a bird. Puffin. Who doesn't like puffins?
Oh God, yeah. We should have done a bit of research on this, shouldn't we? He said, listen. I said, thanks for that, mate. He says, I'm only up here with some friends. They're into all that bird watching stuff, so we had to stop off and buy some cold weather gear. But I got lumbered with driving them. So thanks so much. And
he rambles something, and you've lived in Scotland. You understand Scottish, but this guy's this whatever he's saying, it could be another language, but it's definitely English and definitely Scottish. But his accent is so strong. Even you're struggling to understand what he's saying.
Yeah, because I think Struan's from he's from Edinburgh or somewhere. He's not. Yeah. Okay, no. So I'll just make a deal out, and I've established that we're there for bird watching, and
You do catch when he says as he finishes the sentence and walking off. You do catch the phrase "southern cunt" as he's wandering off.
Yeah.
That's yeah, certainly. What a welcome! What a welcome in
Yeah.
the welcome in the
You're like,
Highlands, isn't it? Oh, I reckon
I was like,
we're here.
but you're north.
I reckon we're here looking to see the hoping to find Arctic tern. Because I've just searched for birds that you'll see in the Orkney Islands. So we'll go for the Arctic tern.
The terns are slightly smaller than seagulls. I did a whole thing on terns years ago for some bizarre reason.
So black
Project for school.
You say we're here for the Arctic. We're looking for Arctic terns. But anyway,
Aren't they all white with a black head?
yes, they are. The top of their
Yes.
head is black.
That's
So
embarrassing.
anyway,
I know that.
I just say that, and I'll go and get my shopping and head back up, and we'll have a
Cool.
discussion. Make some sandwiches and just sort of make sure that we've all got our story straight. That we're here looking for the Arctic tern. So.
And you now know why you weren't getting any. Everyone was kind of ignoring you because you looked and smelled like a tourist. You look like a tourist anyway, but walking around with a label sticking out, still hanging around your. That's a very
Struan thing to do anyway, so that's fine.
You've got bread, butter. The butter's going to have to be left out and melted because it is solid butter. And it's you're not going to get spread. That's a luxury up here. Spreadable butter. It's not even salted. Milk, all the basic. It's really basic stuff.
Just very basic stuff, just to make sandwiches and a few bags of crisps and all that.
Yep. So after
I'm a bit wary about us going to the pub because again, it's literally you talk about stick out like a sore thumb.
That said, you do know it's a ferry terminal, and lots of oil riggers come up from all over the country. So the pub is on this particular island is almost the one place in the Orkneys that you could, in the right circumstances, get away with all the accents you're running and not be thought of as tourists.
Right.
Other places on the Orkneys, the people look at you as a tourist. But if you go into a pub, this pub in this particular place, because it's a melting pot of different nationalities and accents, because of the very nature of what it is.
Yeah.
You think that you've got more chance of getting away with your accents there and not be looked on too oddly, if that makes sense.
Cool. Yeah.
So,
how do you want to play that? So, it's late evening on the Monday. So you've got there. I'm going to say you're really up and ready to go Tuesday morning because late Monday, 12 o'clock, you got to the ferry port. About 2 hours later, the ferry port went across. Would have arrived on the Tuesday. So let's say it's Wednesday afternoon. I'm going to say it's Wednesday at 12 o'clock. That gives you a full 48 hours since leaving Scotland. And that's the two ferries across to Flutter.
And it's Wednesday evening.
Yeah. Wednesday at 12 o'clock, lunchtime.
Oh.
You should come back. You should just have lunch.
Oh, right.
That makes sense. I think that works.
Has the ferry docked in the other port yet? And we made the crossing, yeah?
Yeah.
Right, okay.
So we're in.
I think probably the best thing to do to start with is to find a hotel or something, because just to use as a base of operations while we're on the island.
You've got an Airbnb on the island.
That's fair enough.
It's not big. You booked a 2-person Airbnb, so you're all kind of squeezed in, lying on the floor on a few cushions you found.
Mm-hmm.
It's not going to fly for that long, but it's just enough for a couple of days before you make your next move.
And is this on Flutter?
Yes. Riverside cottages. Very windy and cold.
Yeah. Okay. Just trying to see. Okay. Well, there's a. Perhaps we should go for a drive along the North
You haven't got a
Road.
car. You haven't got a car.
Oh, I thought that we came on the ferry with our.
Came on the ferry, didn't we? So haven't we got our
Oh,
car?
okay. Yes, I assumed we were foot passengers, but no, you can take your car. Just take the. You can leave one. How many is there? There's 5 of you, isn't there? Four of you. So you can take one of the cars across.
Well, I guess if we're going to take anything, we take the people carrier, right?
Yeah. Okay. So you have the people carrier all the way to Flotter.
Okay.
So
Okay.
you know full well, even though you've got a fake identity to hire everything, any APNR will pick up who actually owns the car.
Yeah.
Mrs. Struan Hoy.
Yeah, I mean, it's a fair point, but again, I don't know what else we could do, really. I mean, again, I guess we could get, once again, get Roddy to do his thing and cover our tracks. But again, we haven't really got the resources to be getting, you're not going to get a hire car on this island for one thing, are you?
No, people hire a car.
What do we all think then? So, are we better off leaving the cars back on the mainland and just coming over on foot, or is that going to limit us too much?
Yeah, we can retro. If you decide to come on foot versus driving, it's up to you.
Or can we retro that we nick the number plate and swap the.
Roll 1d6, and if you get 1 to 3, then you did steal a number plate of an identical car that was parked in the car park of a Sainsbury's. No, so you didn't.
Terrible tonight.
So no, you didn't. In fact,
Okay.
You thought you did, but it fell off on the ferry halfway across.
All right, listen. I reckon then we retcon this and we leave the car because on the island there's likely to be a taxi company. I mean, what do you all think? I don't know. I don't want it's not my.
I think we leave the cars. I think we leave the cars on the other side.
Too much? Is the car too much of a red flag?
It's also traceable, isn't it?
Yeah,
it's the traceability that's the issue.
Yeah, so maybe we leave the car and go to the island on foot. If we get to the island, and then, I mean, like I say, I would imagine there's likely to be, 1 or 2 mini cabs on the island, because again, there's not that many people living on the island, right? So I guess we'll probably get a cab from the ferry terminal, and then maybe we take the number of the taxi driver and say, oh, we might need, are you available if we need driving about? Are you, are you able to, and slip them?
So yes, there will be in fact, you find that there's a larger number of taxi cabs, mini cabs it's actually got its own Uber on this island.
Really?
Mainly because the pub is in the town and the ferry terminal is just a bit too far to stagger back drunk.
Yeah.
There's no pub on the ferry terminal, so it's only a 5-10 minute drive, but it's quite a distant walk in the pouring rain in the dark. So there is a number of people that are there's taxi firms, more than enough taxi firms that run from the pub back to the ferry terminal, and one battered minibus as well, a 12-seater Ford Transit.
I'll tell you what, this espionage thing's hard work, isn't it? Because like that didn't even occur to me about the car, but you're right. Of course, it's but I think it's the right thing to do. Maybe leave the car behind, and we'll just have to manage. Because again, we're not aiming to see the islands. We're aiming to get to this oil rig, right? So actually, not being able to drive around the island is not necessarily a big drawback, as long as we've got some means of transport. Like you say, if there's a taxi,
you've got cheap hiking boots and cheap wet weather gear, so wandering around is not going to be too much of an issue. And this is kind of just a scouting operation.
Yeah,
you're just information gathering to try and speak to somebody in the terminal that may or may not know anything about the oil rig.
My thought was to get to the north part of this island and test out some of our optical equipment.
So you could split into two teams. One team go to the north to check it out with some binoculars, and the other team go to the pub and ask questions. If you would like.
I'll go and have a look. I'll go and do the visual stuff. Who's coming?
Yep, I'll go. It's I'm itching to use this monocular.
Well, if we're paid with our own cash, then probably we do want to get the most of it.
So, Roger, you're playing Mim Hark, aren't you?
Yeah.
So roll 1d6 and tell me if you get 1 to 3. Well, see, if you get 1 to 3, no, you forgot your Bickerton in the bag is in the back of the car.
My what? Sorry.
Bickerton, that was that famous folding bike that they used to take as for travelling on trains. It'd fold out. Is it Bickerton?
Brompton.
Bickerton. I thought it was called a Bickerton. Doesn't matter.
Maybe.
No, you're thinking of Brompton. We used to deliver
Brompton.
there. Yeah.
Brompton.
Brompton.
Anyway,
build the bike. Yeah, folding bikes.
Yeah, you haven't got it. So, moot point. So, you are on your way. No, Bickerton. Yeah, it's a folding Bickerton. Yeah, the original folding bike I'm thinking of is the Bickerton lightweight classic. How much? Ridiculous, stupid, ugly thing is. So you make your way to the end of the island, which I've lost. Where's the island? There, that's the island. Make your way to the end of the island. By the time you've arrived there, Struan and Louisa have arrived at the pub. And what are you going to do? Interrogation? Stealth?
What, in the pub?
Yes. What skills do you have? Do you think you can use to?
Okay. Well.
Oof.
So, I mean, we've got. Okay, so general skills. I mean, infiltration. Obviously, we've got their surveillance could be used because again, what might be useful initially is just go and have a drink, sit and just watch what's going on, rather than
flirting.
asking questions.
So you flirting, interrogation, negotiation. Probably wouldn't try intimidation.
Negotiation, flattery.
Yeah. There's another options. So, what are you trying to? What kind of person are you trying to find to look at, as it were? Because the pub's filled with a variety of different people. Some wearing what kind of orangey dungarees. So you've got some that look like fishermen, some that look like oil workers, just based on a loose idea of what you think an oil worker might look like.
Yeah.
So you could probably spend a couple of an hour or so drinking and trying to.
Okay, so I think what we're probably trying to do first of all is use surveillance.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So
surveillance. First thing I suggest we'll do is we'll go down to the pub. We'll buy what time of day are we talking?
You can head down there whatever time you want. So I would imagine the best time would be evening time.
Yeah, in the evening.
So in fact, for both parties, evening time is the best. Evening time because more people come from after work will be in the pub drinking. And evening time, whilst it's going to be dark, you are more likely to see lights
out
in the center in the center of where you're looking at, if that makes sense.
So in the pub, I think what we'll do is we'll go down, we'll get a drink, get some food, whatever, again, I can't imagine it'll be, super
Fish and
spectacular, but they're likely to have something to eat. Go down
fish
there,
and
we'll
something.
get a table, get a drink, and just sit there and sort of take in the place. And what we're looking for, I guess, is we're looking for, obviously, I mean, it would be unlikely, I would imagine, that there would be anybody who would stick out as being from the place we're looking for.
Well,
So anyone who obviously looks like, special forces or whatever.
yes,
But basically, I think we're just getting an idea of who, rather than asking questions, just take in, get an idea of who's who, get a glimpse of the bar start, who works behind the bar, who's in the pub, who's the regulars, old timers, all that kind of thing. And obviously, if there's anybody who looks like they might be, who don't particularly fit in other than us, then that they're likely to be the people we might want to talk to.
Yeah, I mean that would be the key. The art SBS SAS. The book actually says Royal Marines, but that's you're looking for
it'd be lovely to hope.
ex-forces.
Yeah, it'd be lovely to hope for somebody who looks like they're military, but I think we're unlikely to see that, and it's unlikely that they would be on this island necessarily. And the other thing to do is to try and see if we can maybe what we could, if we're going to ask for anything, maybe what I'm thinking is we could ask around to see if there's anybody who has a boat who might be willing to take us, and we keep up with the bird watching story, and we just say, look, if we need to maybe go out to some of the coastal air, because obviously a lot of the seabirds will nest on the rocky coast.
Yeah.
So we could ask around and see, is there anybody who does boat trips? Anyone who's got a boat to hire, that in case we decide we want to go and go out on a boat to look at the to look at the coastal areas, because again, then it might give us somebody that we can either, nick his boat if we need to, or we can, pay him to get us a closer look, if that makes sense.
So you can spend a couple of hours speaking to people in the pub.
We're not drinking too much. Being very careful not to drink too much.
Right. So switching back to the other team, you find a small crest of a hill, and it's going to take a couple of moments to adjust your eyesight to the darkness. And what you're essentially looking for is lights that aren't moving, that may be flashing, but certainly aren't moving, that aren't on the mainland. So if you make a search observation, make a look. What's you want? Tradecraft, streetwise. Sense troubleshooting, shrink, surveillance. Make a surveillance roll on a difficulty of 4.
Both of us?
Yeah. So if you've got surveillance, you can spend money on it, spend points on it. Otherwise, it's just a straight D6 and a 4. So Min can't see anything. River.
Oh, but I got above a 4.
You got to get below. You got to get. Oh no, yes, right. You got to get. Yes, that's right. It's 4 above. Sorry. 4, yes. Don't know why that was hard. So yes. So Mike, if you make a roll as well. So Min, you start looking to the far right, and following the islands, you start getting a sense of what the lights look like on the islands. There's the odd light of houses and stuff, and you get a sense of the shapes you're looking for as you follow across from the left. Then you move straight over to the right and do the same thing. So you're getting a sense of what to expect on the island, on a light source from the island. You move over a period of maybe half an hour, slowly across until you get roughly to the center where you are expecting to see something. and you do see a series of lights in a uniform shape, maybe 4 or 5 lights that from a distance look like one long light, but as you zoom in and focus, they are 5 lights from a window or a kind of an office block or a building. But given the height and what the rest of the buildings were looking like on the island, you think you have found what you're looking for, and there are lights on it. A few lights. There is a flashing orange light to the left-hand side. Can't quite make out what's there, but possibly because it's a flashing light, that's an indicator that it's either a warning to ship for shipping or a helicopter landing pad.
Right.
You can't quite make out the entire. You're too far away to make out the full shape of the object, other than the orbital lights. But you think you found it. You think you think the object is there and there has lights on.
So it's quite dark.
Yes.
Okay, so we may be able
Very
to
few.
glean.
There's a lot of natural lights. When there's no, there's very little light pollution. Let's put it that way.
Do we think? Yeah. So we should be able to get a better view in daylight.
Possibly.
Mm-hmm.
Possibly.
Okay.
You get better views. You get closer, obviously.
Yes, that as well. Yeah. Okay. Well, there's not much more we can do, I guess.
No, but you have. You
We
think you
found
found.
it. Yeah.
So going back to the pub. Have I lost it? Hang on. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Oh, sorry. So I took out the charging port and it made a funny noise. So you make it back to the pub. You have located 2 people of interest.
Okay.
Struan, you found a grizzly old man in the corner who claims he has a fishing boat for hire. Whilst Louisa, you've been chatting up what looks like an electrical engineer working off of one of the rigs, who has a tale to tell you.
Oh,
Who would like to go first?
Why don't we let Louisa go first? Because
okie dokie.
So you've been flying in with Baby Guinness and
Baby Guinness.
obviously, and other alcohol. He's a bit loose-lipped now, and he kind of says, after fashion, you start talking about his job,
Yeah.
and what he does, and just kind of flattery stuff, and then move around to the area. And after a period of time, you kind of land on the questions you want to ask him about that particular place.
Okie doke.
And his name's Clive. He's quite flattered by the attention. He says, I was on a one of the ferries crossing over to the other side of Scarpa Flow, and we have to do this little U-turn around, like a roundabout. You come around a corner, you can't go into the centre because it's restricted due to, I don't know, disused munitions during the World War One, II. There's a ship down there that can blow up. I know. I mean, they've got a big concrete base over it. They're trying to protect the missiles that are down there. But I don't know much about history. But anyway, one day I went over there. They had this black helicopter, and I mean, I'd never seen one of these helicopters before. It was black. Do you remember that that TV show. Was it Blue Thunder?
Surely that was blue.
Yeah, but it kind of looked like a cross between Blue Thunder and Airwolf.
Oh, sorry, I see what you're getting at.
The helicopter. Kind of, I don't know, I don't know. I don't know what make it was, but it kind of this.
It looked like it had got missile launchers on the sides.
Oh yeah, definitely military, but it kind of flew in quietly. I didn't notice it until a bloke next to me, punched me in the arm and pointed up. Yeah, it was quite a quiet day. Weren't that windy, and it's this bloody helicopter making no noise whatsoever. Just flew in and landed on this the where they're kind of decommissioning the missiles underwater.
I'll put the shits up a flock of birds, won't it?
I don't know. Yeah, really odd that. I don't know what to make of that, other than it kind of, you see that shit going on at Area 51 and all the men in black and all the black helicopters and the children with dark eyes and all that, that QAnon stuff the Americans are into. But you don't expect to see it on your own doorstep. I say doorstep. I'm from Coventry, but you don't expect a sweaty to have a helicopter like that.
That is very interesting. That deserves a whiskey. Let me go and get you one.
Oh, thanks. Roll a 1d6. If you get a natural 6, he's going to pass out by the time you get back.
Let's have a go then.
No, he's still going. That's the main crux of his information. And he'll tell you a whole bunch of other stuff which is erroneous, but that's the only thing of the half-hour, 45-minute conversation you have with him. That's the bit that jumps out. That's the bit you want. The birds, locations of where the local dogging sites and all that kind of other information you're asking about. Can't think of it. But it's that's the bit that jumps out as being more important. So we flip over to Struan, who is purchasing a half a Guinness for this chap because he's only got 15 quid left on his pocket.
Yeah, exactly. Mind you, I bet the prices are pretty good up here.
15 quid, you could buy everyone in the
on the island a drink.
Yes, yeah.
Okay, so I'll just be talking to him, and again, I said, and so I'm not going to try and do a Scottish accent. I thought about it, but I'm not going to do it.
Half the Scots can't do them.
You seem like a chap who knows these islands well. Would I be right? And
aye.
So, between you and me and my friends, as I said, we're here. We're here doing a bit of bird watching, and maybe we might. I don't know how you'd feel about it. But we might possibly, think about hiring your boat. You seem like an honest fellow, so we just want you to maybe.
He says, "You want free passage to Alderaan?" Only kidding. I've got a small schooner. You have no idea what that is.
A schooner. I can take sailboat, right?
It's a boat.
It's a sailboat. Well, I mean, listen. Have you got a phone number? Maybe if you got a way we can contact you, maybe jot it down. I'll give him a. Pull out a bit of paper and something. Maybe jot your number down for us if you don't mind. And
I'm in the boat name. Oaks Bottom. No, that's stupid. The Ugly Duckling. I've got the Ugly Duckling schooner at the arse end of the pier.
Okay.
When do you want to go?
Well, I'll have a chat with I'll have a talk with my friends, because I think they were talking about maybe tomorrow. We were talking about maybe doing a bit of land sightseeing, possibly.
The tits come out in the morning.
I beg your pardon.
The tits come out in the morning, and as you see some good shag in the afternoon.
He's looking around. Struan looks around to make sure his wife's not watching him.
I
And
can't think.
Have issues,
I
is
think
he?
I can't think of any other rude names for birds.
no, he said, well, that's very interesting. I'll have a chat with my friends. Maybe I don't know. Maybe tomorrow afternoon we might be able to be
Oh,
out with it. Maybe perhaps you
it'll
could
be
take us
20
out.
quid each.
Seems reasonable. Okay,
I take contactless.
you take contactless up here. Have you got
We've
good
only got
Wi-Fi?
cash.
I take cash as well.
Great. Okay.
Scottish money, not English crap.
I won't
Or
rise to that one.
or Danish. I take Danish
Bacon.
Krona.
krona.
Margarine.
You've heard of krona?
I've heard of Krona. Yeah. It's
Oh,
Danish
mine's a
currency,
pint.
isn't
He said, "Mine's a pint." Then
Wasn't that the thing that
of
got
course,
us all
might be
locked in?
my pleasure. It'd be my pleasure. I'll go and buy him another pint, and then
pint of
I'll
krona.
sort of shake his hand and say, "Oh, can I just get your name, by the way? Sorry, I've been very rude. What's your name?"
Obadiah Marsh.
I don't think it is.
No.
If it is, we're in completely the wrong part of the world.
Angus McFurton.
Oh, that's a good solid Scottish name.
Yeah.
Perfect. Okay. Well, thank you, Angus. And I'll get him another. So I get my pint, and then I'll go back and I'll keep out of Louisa's way until it's clear
Yeah.
that she's finished with this other guy.
As you're about to leave, you hear there's almost a moment of silence in the bar, and you can hear that same phrase again, "Southern cunt," in the same Scottish accent as you wander off. Louisa
I'm going to set the dogs on this arsehole at some point.
is plying this young guy with drink with alcohol, and he's getting quite tipsy.
Yeah.
To the extent that
I'll sort of give her the nod and say we need to get out of here.
Oh, and he goes, I think I'm going to be sick. Are you going to leave him or help him to the toilet?
Let's help him to the bogs.
Help him to the toilet. I'll help him to the. Obviously, Louisa will leave that up to me, I'm sure. So I'll sort of awkwardly.
No. She will assist you up to the end of the bar.
Cool.
Into the bar, not the beginning of the toilet. So you deal with that, and you eventually make your way home. So back on the north of the island, you've established where you think it is using your phone, which there's actually a 5G mask in the center of the island. Because of what the place is, the sheer volume of people that are going through the island, it's prudent to have a 5G, 4G mask there for mobile connectivity on the island. So you can look at your phone and pinpoint with a fair degree of accuracy a single line from where you are to just by holding your phone and getting the north the compass right to the other side of the island, so you've got a point of reference between where you are and the island dead opposite. Along that line is where your post supply might be.
Okay. Yep.
When you get back to the Airbnb, you can look at the information on the binoculars to get a kind of an understanding of the distance it could be given your focus. So you have a straight line, and you estimate the focus has got 2040 or whatever it is. It's not going to be too hard to work out. It's roughly half a mile, 2 miles out, give or take, and that puts it in the spot that's missing on Google Earth.
Yeah.
It puts it in the same spot that the photograph on the satellite imagery has it.
Yeah.
So you've effectively you've triangulated your options, and you are convinced that this is it's there, it's active. There's a helicopter. There's a flashing light that you think could possibly be a helicopter pad. given the information from Louisa, you think you're there in terms of just a visualization of where it could be.
Can we actually see it? Can we actually see it through the binoculars and stuff?
Just you can see a series of lights, a flashing light, what looks like 4 vertical lights, and there's you can't quite see the object, but you can see enough to, given that you were looking on the actual islands both sides for points of reference, it doesn't look like a series of houses. It looks like a bigger object that's closer up. So you think about a mile out, there is something that fits the description of what you're looking for. There are lights on. There's a flashing light.
I was about to ask, is there an anti-collision light on it?
Yeah, there's well, it could be an anti-collision light. It could be a helicopter landing pad light. Given the information that Louisa's found about a particular black ops, for want of a better term, helicopter landing on this place, you think you've done enough to confirm, without actually going there, that this is a good candidate for Proserpine.
Okay, so I guess I don't know, but what do you lot think though? I'm really doubting whether we're going to be able to get onto this
We're
platform.
not going to get anywhere near it, are we? Let's face
No,
it.
I'm having second thoughts about. I know we've sort of travelled up here and gone to all this trouble, but I can't see any way. Because if we're in a boat, right? So if we hire this boat, and again, I wasn't really considering that we were going to, go and make an attempt on it tomorrow. I thought we could just get the guy to take us out, and get another look at it. But I'm guessing they're going to have radar, so any boat that comes near it, they're going to pick it up.
That's what I was saying earlier. They're going to.
And if you get onto the base, you've got blinking special forces. And let's face it, we are not special forces troops. We are slightly bumbling intelligence operatives. Maybe with the exception
you could
of
parachute in overnight. Some stealth.
I just don't know.
Parachutes.
What do we think? Is there any way that we think? The only other thing I can think of, is there any other way that we could approach this kind of more what's the word I want to use, like directly? In other words, could we get permission? Would our MI5 credentials get us on it, do we think, or not? I think not. I don't know whether they would. The military wouldn't give a shit, honestly.
Yeah.
So what have we got any realistic chance of getting on here? Because again, this is not we're not in a a sort of high adventure game where it's this is like real real espionage, real people. But I just don't see how we're going to get on this thing.
So,
silent kayaking.
If you your 2 options with the kayaking, you need dry suits or wetsuits because it's cold. You could get dropped off close, and the boat keep going, and you could either use Decathlon obviously do a 2-man kayak. You could spray that matte black and go in. Alternatively, there is a kind of a, how would you describe it? It's kind of a mini submarine, but it's a handheld propeller.
Yeah.
You could get your hands on a couple of those and come in from underneath. Obviously, the first thing to do would be to go and have a look at the object to see if there's anything obvious. Because as you get closer, whilst you'll be outside of the essentially the exclusion zone that the guy was talking about, during the daylight with binoculars and any cameras you haven't got cameras. You could use your mobile phones on a binocular to get a picture. That's possible. So
I guess then the likely that I guess that makes sense. So the likely thing to do therefore is, I think, for tomorrow we pay this guy, take us out on his boat, get him to we'll direct him across Scapa Flow so that we can get some sort of a view. And again, we're not going to try and get him to go near it or anything. We're just going to say and we'll just, as you say, try and get a better look at it. and then figure out where we go from there. Because again, I just suspect if we try and get onto this thing, we're just going to get murdered, aren't we? Basically. I don't think we haven't got like the resources, because again, all the kayaking and all that. I mean, I'm not being funny. We're not middle-aged people, aren't we? We're not. These are not. Apart from River, again, I keep excluding River because he's the action man here. But I can't see Struan sitting in a 2-man kayaking across Scapa Flow in a frogman's outfit. He'd be like, oh, not with my tennis elbow,
Yeah.
But I think it makes sense to go and have a look at it.
Yeah.
Halfway you go, I can't swim.
Well, no, exactly. I've been thinking of other scenarios, like do you like oh yeah, our boat's sinking or whatever. They probably wouldn't give a shit. They'd probably let you drown. So again, I'm like, I don't think that's going to work. So I genuinely am thinking, I'm trying to figure out a way to get on there. But anyway, I think that makes sense. Let's do that. We'll go and. Is it worth it? Do all of us need to go on this boat, or should we just get a couple of us to go and check it out? I guess it's probably worth all of us going, isn't it?
There's a good chance if you all go. There's a good chance if you have to make a roll of you all get a chance of rolling rather than.
Yeah. Well, don't you want to see the birds?
I mean, yeah, I guess. Yeah, so I think we do that. That makes sense. We do that. We can, like I said, we've made a contact with this Angus guy, so we can get him to take us out on his boat and see if we can get some better views of it. And because again, I'm intrigued if there isn't obvious, like a perimeter patrol, so if there aren't if there isn't like a boat literally patrolling the perimeter of the rig, we might have a better chance of getting onto it at night. Because again, if you're in a kayak or whatever, then you're not going to get picked up on radar. So there's a good chance that you could probably get to it, by as you say, by kayaks or whatever. But anyway, okay, that makes sense.
Well, we may just by scouting it learn something that will inform our next.
Yeah, quite.
Yes.
Yeah. But the evening before, I'm going to be studying bird books.
Yeah, good idea.
Got to be able to talk a little bit.
That's right. We should all bone up a little bit on. We should all bone up a bit on birds, local birds, just so we've got some idea. I mean, in case the guy asks.
Yeah, there goes a red-breasted.
Because that's the thing. If you're gonna go and do this, it would be better to know, or to be able to say, that's X, Y, and Z.
Yeah.
Rather than because you go, well, he's talking about a yellow-crested shag. They don't exist. They've been dead 50 years. Knowing,
quite right.
Talking the talk, as it were.
Yeah, definitely a bit of prep is a good shout, I think.
A Bluffer's Guide is what you want. A Bluffer's Guide to birds in Orkney.
Yep.
Birds from Orkney. Just trying to move that image. So you spend the evening mulling through. Is that not working?
Nursing a Guinness and reading.
Yeah, it's actually the book's quite interesting. It's obviously in Scottish, so nobody understands what actual. But the book's interesting in terms of, or the information you're getting in terms of the birds of Orkney is actually quite fascinating, in a kind of sad way. But you reckon after about an hour or so, you've got enough peripheral information about a certain number of birds that are rare that should be in the area to pull off to blag your way through, you think. So Thursday morning, you arrive at the ferry port, where you find the Ugly Duckling. No.
Yeah, Ugly Duckling. That was it.
The ugly Duckling schooner. It's got a big Yamaha motor on the back, but it looks like it's a kind of a double masked sailing boat.
Yep.
And
Yeah.
the guy's he's folding his Genoa, and tacking his mask.
Yep.
I can't. That's it. I know the Genoa, the Spinnaker Genoa, and whatnot. I'll do. You come for the bird watching.
Angus, these are my friends, and I'll introduce them with whichever fake names we've decided to go with.
He shakes your hands. He says, "Oh, get
that'll
aboard.
be-
Any you
that'll be
get
20 quid each.
20 quid each. That's got the wrong queen on it, mate. That's not legal tender around here. Fucking £10 note. It's not a Scottish £10 note. So you have to rummage around your pockets to find some more Scottish money."
Fair dues.
He manoeuvres the boat back and starts to negotiate the shipping lanes, trying to weave around the giant oil tankers to get into Scapa Flow.
Yeah.
There's a distinct flow of these things coming from beyond the Orkney Islands, where all of the main North Sea oil rigs are. And he says, "I can take you around the edge, but we can't go in the centre. What with the unexploded bombs that they're trying to stop, diffuse."
Oh no, of course, Angus. We don't want to get you into any trouble or anything. No, that's it's interesting. So I missed that. I didn't really hear anything about that. So what is it they're doing out there?
Do you know whether your grandfather told you or your dad told you there were 2 world wars?
Yeah, I'm aware.
Right, so they scuttled a couple of ships here, and it's believed that when they were signing the Treaty of Versailles, some of the Ann Arbor boys had big bombs in the hold of some of those ships. There may even, in fact, be a U-boat down there with some of that special tech they were sending to Japan. They found that Messerschmitt down in Norway in in boxes in that submarine. Well, they could be some of that stuff. Maybe a Horton. That'd be good. They found a Horton in the bottom in boxes.
I'll just nod. Struan will just nod.
Sending it down to the Japanese to make some stealth bombers. Well, anyway, that and possibly some more hard water that they found. Yeah.
Kevin, I'll start chatting to this guy. And I said, "Have you heard any rumours about a secret submarine replenishment base?" Now, the thing behind this, I saw a thing that during the Cold War they were supposed to have built an underground submarine base up near this area in Scotland.
He goes, submarines?
Yeah.
He looks over.
This is sort of like common knowledge rather than.
But he looks at you. He looks over the side of the boat and he goes, "No, I ain't seen no submarines around here."
Yeah.
This mucky water. He goes, "Oh no, Ullapool. Go down to Ullapool. They got subs down there, but you hear some strange stories."
Oh yeah, like that.
Where the mermaids and the sirens, or do you want normal strange? Naked women with fish legs. I mean, who doesn't like a naked woman with a fish leg?
Well, I couldn't eat 2 of them.
Struan looks around again to make sure his wife's not watching.
He says, "Oh, plenty of crazy selkies, water horses, tax cuts for the poor." No, there's loads of.
No, we're talking fantasy here.
Anyway, there has been rumours of a secret sub base built during the Cold War, but it's got to be underwater, right?
Well, the entrance.
Some of it.
The entrance.
So nobody's seen it.
because it's secret, because it's underwater, isn't it?
For secrets underwater. Get that man a drink. He knows what he's talking about. Secret underwater base.
Yeah.
You know, it's not like a sky castle that we all see. Anyway, there's no real secret bases around here. There's, they've got a few unexploded bombs, but military are sorting it out, or the contractors for the military are sorting it out because Royal Navy got better things to do.
Yeah.
But no secret base up here. No, we'd know about it. We'd know about it. We'd see him. It'd be bloody obvious. Secret base around here.
Yeah.
He says changing his accent 15 times.
Yeah, because it's just like one of those. Just one of those YouTube conspiracy theory videos. That
YouTube? How old are you? Aren't you on a TikTok?
No.
We
don't have to do with that China. That's Chinese behind that.
He gets his phone out. And he goes, look at this. We've been doing TikToks of sea shanties, and there's the trawlerman plus some of his mates singing some kind of weird sea shanty. Look, 300 views. That's fantastic. That is.
If you say so.
It's a song. You can't actually understand what he's singing because it's such a strong accent. Because it's a song about a mermaid with 3 tits. Fucking funny that is. And this kind of goes on. This kind of banter goes on. He's kind of almost as if he doesn't get out much and doesn't get to speak to non-islanders that much. And he's kind of really sharing and
when you say
to
almost like that, it's like exactly like that, isn't it?
Yeah. He's getting paid to talk, and he seems to like the sound of his own voice. So he takes you around the islands, and it starts off seeing the edge of flotilla. You can see, you make an observation of where you were on the island looking out, and then looking left, you can see in the distance an object in the sea. That's in the proximity of what you were looking last night with the lights on.
Okay, so I guess we'll break out the binoculars and whatever. Because again, if he makes a thing, no, it's interesting. I said, I've never seen anything like that before. That's something to tell the kids. And
that's those contractors have got the contract to disarm all the munitions underwater. Fucking dangerous,
isn't it? And
there's you can't go that close. They've got like little boys. I say little boys. It's not Catholic Church. They've got boys round the place to stop you going close because obviously don't want to start killing the natives.
No.
But the birds go there. There's a few birds that go there because obviously we're not going. Nobody's going there to hunt.
What kind of birds?
Ones with big wings. I'm not a bird man. Once saw a shag. Once had a shag. Not me.
We're back on that again.
Suddenly he seemed to become a Cockney geezer.
Well, birds, you say. That's fascinating.
I'll take you a little bit closer. There might be some of those cormorants.
Did you hear that, chaps? Get your cameras out. You never know. We might see something rare.
Oh! Watch it with the cameras.
Why is that?
They get a bit funny. You might get one of these little black tenders come out and shout at you.
They're not going to see anything, are they? We're just taking some pictures in case there's any birds. I'm not interested in any bloody oil rig.
It's not an oil rig, well,
whatever it is.
Yeah. So he starts manoeuvring closer to the
platform? I don't really know nautical terms. Call it a platform, or?
I think it was an oil rig that they were going to take out to the sea, and it broke or something, so they just left it there.
Oh, right.
And I think it hit one of the mines. I think that's the story. It's something like they're moving out, but they moved it across the middle, hit a mine, and there's a bit of an explosion. And nobody can remember. It was in the 70s to say. Yeah, it was about the 70s, and it was derelict for ages. And then obviously the government decided, or the local government decided to start getting rid of the bombs. So they got some contractors in.
Well, that must be a lonely job being stuck on there all the time.
I guess you occasionally see helicopters coming in with helicopters coming in. You can't take a boat to it. It's just helicopters.
Ah, right, okay.
Lovely black shiny ones. Sorry?
I think the thing's a bloody eyesore if it's out here. we come up and see birds, not bloody oil rigs and
Well,
whatever
take it
else.
up with your local MP, mate.
Don't worry,
So
mate. I will.
he gets closer, and as he gets closer, through the mist. Let's see if I can do this in a
Well, into
cool
the fog
way.
and mist.
You see looming up quite close this as is.
Nice.
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
Looks like a bloody oil rig to me. Ugly looking thing, isn't it?
It is.
I will
Okay,
just take.
so it
I will
does.
just take a picture for the missus though, and I'll just take my phone out quickly and take a quick snap with the.
All right, there's no boats in the water. You might get away with it, but I'm just going to kind of sail casually along, and we'll head towards
Yeah.
this island at the top.
Well, that's what we're here for, isn't it? We're here for the birds. Not really interested in that whole thing, but yeah.
No.
Interesting.
So
Thanks for that.
that is the photograph you take.
Cool. Okay.
And you arrive after a 2-hour, 3-hour trip around with many photographs of many birds and long shaggy dog stories and some tall tales. You arrive back in the port where the oil tanker port is. Says thanks for the trip, boys. Anytime you do it again, I'm propping up the bar most evenings.
Oh, appreciate that. That's very good of you. Thank you very much, Angus. Appreciate your time and
Angus is a name. Angus is a nature.
okay.
That's
Great.
that's an Orkney joke. And he tipped his head.
Lovely. Well,
And
it's been a pleasure. Thanks very much for that. And we've got some good pictures of the birds here. We did good there. We're pleased with that. Thank you.
Yes, very happy with that.
suppose you off, and you eventually make your. Would you go back to the pub or back to the Airbnb?
I mean, we
I
can't.
need a bloody drink after that.
Yeah, we can go to the pub, but we have to be careful. Obviously, we can't talk about what we've. It's a good idea not to discuss anything related to the rig. We'll keep that until we get back. But
Yes.
I agree. We'll probably go to the pub and have a drink and maybe a hot
Okay,
meal as opposed to a sandwich.
We can talk about the birds that we photographed and saw.
So if you want, you can spend about half an hour in the pub, and then make your way back to the after having some food, make your way back to the Airbnb.
Perfect. Yeah. So I mean, again, there's the so looking at the oil rig again. I suppose. I don't know. So we've learned something though. It sounds like we're not going to get onto it from the sea, right? Because he made a point of saying that there were tenders, which it sounds as if they will investigate anyone who gets too close. And also the boys.
All of that,
we don't know whether the boys are have got any sort of sensors in them, or whether they're just warning buoys. But they could also have, it depends how high tech they've gone with this. They could have proximity sensors, or who knows, but cameras even.
Or the thing that jumps out of that photograph,
is the cage at the bottom.
It's what's between its legs.
Yeah, the cage at the bottom.
Yes, I thought that
which
was
is
if you need to sober somebody up, stick them in there and drop them in the water.
That's odd.
It'd be a diving cage.
No.
Is it a cage?
It is a cage. It's literally a cage hanging from a chain or a rope.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, gee. So you mean that could be something that you might need to put somebody in if it's some sort of nasty creature that you don't want to be let loose on your population, perhaps.
Where, when you start spitballing, where would you think the best place to keep a captured vampire would be, given everything you know about
well away
vampires?
from everybody else, I would argue.
Yep.
And also because it's because we don't know, right? We don't know in this reality, in this world, we don't know yet the rules of vampires or whether they have such a thing. So
that is correct. You have a belief
that there is something.
Certain things. The vulnerabilities, you have a belief. You haven't road tested the vulnerability, other than a moment in Morocco when the super strong guy wouldn't come into the sunlight,
Yeah,
and his
so that was
hand
going to be
burnt.
that was going to be my observation. Was if you're keeping a vampire in a cage now, even though it's underneath the rig, if it's in daylight, one would assume that would be where you might put one if you wanted to like kill it, basically. Because if it's still going to get sunlight, right? Even if it's under the rig, it's still going to catch sunlight. So
Yeah,
so
especially in the morning or
but
evening.
it certainly, yeah, exactly. So it certainly seems like that could be a way of disposing of troublesome experimental subjects.
Well,
Um,
yeah, I don't know. We send a drone out. Otherwise,
anything like that, though, you've got to assume that a drone would be spotted, or this is my problem. I don't see how we're going to get on it unless we let ourselves. So the other option, of course, is like I said about being more overt. Do we get in a boat and do we just drive at the thing? And if a tender comes out and grabs us, do we let ourselves be taken on board, or would they even bother doing that? Would they just kill us? And do you know what I mean? It's a bit of a risk to take because if it was a Bond movie, he'd probably go out there and he'd get captured and taken on to the place which is exactly where
In
he
a
wants
mini
to go.
sub. So I guess your
Or he'd go in a mini
options
sub.
are
But if you get captured by them, they're either going to put a bullet in you and throw you over the side, or they're just going to take you back to land and say, "Don't do it again."
They're going to feed you to whatever they
Or
put
feed
in
you to
the boat.
feed you to the vampires. I don't know, but
so the option is get close at night, get in a sprayed black decathlon kayak and paddle out to the cage and climb up that way. Do a similar thing with wetsuits with one of these handheld scuba underwater thingies. Alternatively, use an actual boat. Seems a bit more dangerous. Or find out where the helicopters are coming from and going to and try and hijack a helicopter. Or stow away on board a helicopter to try and get on board.
that seems quite difficult.
Yeah, none of it seems that appealing, does it? To be fair,
you could get a small aircraft to fly you over the top, and you could parachute in.
I'm going to do parachuting. I barely passed my physical last year. I'm not going to parachute. I mean, it sounds to me like I can't believe I'm going to say this, but seems to me the best option is probably the kayaking.
I think so
because at least we've got a better option of getting a kayak, right? I don't know where the hell you're going to get a handheld submarine from.
So that would be something you could go back to the mainland and go to a scuba shop and I can't remember what they're called.
But also, swimming a couple of miles, even with that, swimming a couple of miles, it sounds dodgy to me. Whereas at least in a kayak, I could believe you could probably do it. And again, I'm trying to remember that these characters are not like super fit special forces people. Yep. These are normal people. So I think yes, you could probably kayak it. The benefit of the kayak is that it's
Amazon do a Crusoe underwater scuba jet for 220 quid.
I was going to say, what's the Amazon delivery time?
So that's next. Well, it's going to be a couple of days. It's going to be next day.
Up to the bloody Orkney Isles, I would imagine. Yeah.
It's not going. Yeah, it's certainly.
I can't believe there's an Amazon hub on Orkney, but
it's not going to be Prime, is it? Definitely not.
No.
Well, I agree with that. The kayaking. I mean, it's not going to be hopefully too rough because it's surrounded by islands.
Correct. Yeah.
Break up the.
Which is exactly why they picked Scapa Flow for the Royal Navy,
jet skis.
It's sheltered.
Jet skis, but they are noisy.
Or could we get a Lotus that converts into a submarine?
Oh.
Now you're talking.
I don't know. What do you think then? What do I feel like I'm being really negative. I'm not trying to be. I'm trying to remember that this is not James Bond. This is meant to be, kind of realistic.
Am I fucking useless, isn't it?
Am I fucking useless? Exactly. So it's not like we've got high-tech gadgets. We've got, like you say, I think the kayaks, we could probably find somewhere on the island we could get kayaks because, again...
Decathlon hire them for £45 for a day.
Yes. sea kayaking's a thing, so I'd be very surprised if you couldn't hire a couple of kayaks on where
could
we
probably
are. We wouldn't have to like go looking for them.
go down to the beach area. You might even be able to nick a couple.
Yeah, maybe. But I
I
reckon if
can't
you,
imagine.
I'm pretty sure you'd be able to, rent or buy a couple. Well, you probably want to rent them because if you're going to paint them black, you don't want to do that. But at least that seems relatively realistic to me. I'm not buying the whole handheld submarine thing. I can't see Struan or Louisa getting in a wetsuit and swimming 3 miles out into the middle of Scapa Flow. No, it ain't going to happen. But I can buy the kayaking. But I don't know. So that's my feeling.
Yeah.
What do the rest of you think?
I think the
That's the plan
kayaking
we
at
had all
night
evening.
has got a possibility, yeah.
And the other question I have is there any point to us actually going to that trouble? Is it important enough to us, do we think, to actually do this, or do we think we're better served maybe, finding another avenue to investigate? I mean, I know we've come this far and everything, and we're here, and we've established that there is definitely something going. I mean, I guess we're going to have to, aren't we? Because, like you say, if this is where they're creating vampires or where they're holding them,
It's one of
if
our
we could get
leads.
some sort
Yeah.
of evidence of it, it would be big.
Mm.
So yeah, I guess we're probably going to have to
Well,
do that. We're going to have to do it, aren't we?
If we don't do it now, I imagine we're going to have to do it later.
Yeah, that makes sense.
It's one of our leads.
Okay.
I think we need to try and sneak on board, nothing noisy,
Yeah.
look around, hope there's not too much of a night watch, see what we can find, and be prepared to get out in a hurry.
Okay. Yeah, that sounds like a plan to me.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
game.
I can't imagine that they face any serious attempts to infiltrate the place, so they're probably not super alert. But who knows?
Yeah, mate. Yeah, no, that's a fair point actually. Because they've established a good cover story in the islands that people seem to buy into. And I guess apart from the odd tourist boat which might get too close, then
Exactly.
as you say, I would imagine they're probably fairly, reasonably complacent because they are isolated. And even if you do get close, you're in the middle of the ocean. So yeah, okay. So I think what we do is maybe we next job then is to have a word around the go down into the village or the town, see if we can acquire a couple of kayaks, and the gear we're going to nick. It's going to cost us it's definitely going to cost us a few £100. But
Yeah.
because again, you can sell sea kayaking. So if anyone's asking, say, well, look, we're going to actually go out and we can get a better view of the birds if we kayak out to the cliff face. We can go and see the birds close up. I can buy that. Seems plausible, doesn't it?
Yeah,
definitely.
But I guess it's going to take us a couple of days to pull all this together. So we're going to have to get the equipment and get ourselves organised. And obviously, what we want to do is go. We want to pick a. Is it? I guess we could just Google this, but we want to try and. I guess we want to find a time when there's not much moonlight. So in other words, not a full moon.
Depends what time of the month.
Yeah, so I guess we look at the calendar and figure out is there a time in the next few days when it's going to be, what's the darkest it's going to be. So in other words, when's the moon?
So just check the weather. Just check the weather whether it's going to be a cloudy night.
Yeah.
Because again, visibility, poor visibility, or no moonlight, or very little moonlight would serve us better.
So you have some good news on that front and some bad news.
Okay.
The good news is there's a storm coming in, and tomorrow it's going to be overcast, so you're going to see no light from the stars.
Yeah.
The bad news is actually tomorrow night is a full moon.
Right.
But there'll be no visibility.
Okay, so we also need to check the weather forecast because again, we don't want to be in poxy kayaks in the middle of a storm because that's going to be a quick way to get dead as well. So maybe I don't know. I guess what we can do is, though, we can prepare, we can go for it, and if the weather gets too bad, we just turn. We don't have to do it that night. We come back, but I guess we have to have a go. But I don't like the idea. I mean, I like the idea of the cloud cover. I don't like the idea of there being storm conditions, because again, even in the
No,
flow,
you're a couple of a day or so away from the actual storm, but
right?
there is one coming in. But it's just the
Okay.
actual full moon is covered
Will
by
mostly be covered by clouds. Yeah.
yeah.
So what do we think then? Do we think that's a good? I'm getting a Kevin hint that that's a good time to go for it.
We're not gonna get a better chance, are we?
No,
There'll
maybe
never
not.
be a better. There will never be a better.
Not unless we're willing to hang around here for a couple of weeks for the.
Yeah.
So, okay, no, I think then we do that. So we make our preparations then, and we will plan to go the next night when it is going to be overcast.
Okay.
Sounds good.
So you
One
pick
quick
up.
question: has anybody here actually used a kayak before?
Hang on a minute.
I'm looking at my skills to see where I've got anything. I mean, I know because they're in athletics.
It requires, if there's two of you, it requires good coordination
Yeah, I'm just having a look.
or the ability to count 1, 2, row, without
So, I
singing
mean,
row.
Struan's got an athletics. There is an athletics under general skills. So Struan's got an athletics of 4,
Same
which
here.
is middling. It's not bad, but it's not. He's not like an Olympic athlete, but it's not bad.
Yep. I've got reasonably good athletics.
So I think I think they're all kind of reasonably fit. So that would be as a benefit. Yeah. Okay.
I can't see anything else that might.
No, nothing really else that applies. I don't
I
think.
think athletics
I'm just having a
would
look
be
at the
would
description of
work.
the skill. Hold on a minute, because I've got
Or
my
just
book
good,
in front
half
of me.
decent dexterity, really. I can't remember whether you got
Yeah,
dexterity.
athletics allows you to perform general acts of physical daring do, from running to jumping to throwing grenades to rappelling down the side of a building. Any physical action not covered by another ability probably falls under the auspices of athletics. So yes,
It's
so
going to be
I think
rowing. It's going to be rowing, isn't it?
yeah, so I think athletics covers it.
Yeah. Yeah, that sounds about right.
Yep.
Well, I've got level 4 in it, so.
Well, I've got 7.
So am I right that general abilities gives you a pool of dice to use, right? So if you've
Yes.
got so with an athletics of 4, it means I've got 4 dice that I can use.
Yeah, and you're lucky. Next session, beginning next session, anything spent up to that point, I'm going to let everyone refresh.
Yeah.
Okay.
There's no specific.
And so then you set the difficulty number, and then we can just roll a dice, or we can spend points to add to that to increase your dice roll.
It's not especially hard rowing.
Yeah.
It is harder to do if you're married.
Yeah.
Um,
Now that's called rowing. I think you'll find spelt the same,
Rowing.
sounds different.
Speaking from experience, it's definitely hard to do with a married couple in the same boat. Easier
Yes,
to
it
hire
is.
2 different kayaks.
Well, luckily none of us, none of our party are married. And I guess probably Min. Am I right in thinking probably Min? I'm guessing it will probably be Min and Louisa will probably go together, and then it'll be me and River. Does that seem right? Because obviously Min and Louisa have a bit of a connection, so I guess they'll probably end up going together.
I can't remember. Do we have to declare using the points before we roll?
Yes.
Yeah, I think you just say you want to spend a couple of
Difficulty
points.
is 4. It's just a degree of coordination.
Yeah.
So, Mim and Louisa, both you make a roll. You both need to succeed.
I'm going to use 3 points. Yeah, I think.
Don't forget, you'll need some of those points to row back.
Yep.
I think I'll. You need what target number? Sorry.
Target is 4.
4.
On a D6. So.
Yep.
I'll risk 2. I'll risk 2. So 2 plus 2 is 4.
Oh,
Yeah, good enough.
Yeah, Min succeeded massively though, didn't he?
Yeah.
it doesn't.
Yeah, with a roll of 6, that's bloody good going. Yeah, I've managed the
It's not
target number.
Okay, I'm showing it says Mim roll for rowing, but it doesn't say.
It's above
Of
Anthony's
course,
roll.
yes, of course. I was looking at it. Yes, so you got yes. So the pair of you are able to row in unison, in straight direction, heading towards the ship, the Proserpine.
Yeah.
Struan and River, same rules apply.
Right, so I'm going to spend 2 because
Yeah, I'll do
I've
the
got
same.
4, so I want to do 2 and 2 for there, 2 for the way back.
Yep.
And we got what did you say we got to get?
4 or more.
4.
So essentially, two or more.
Well, based on my luck tonight. Hey, so that's a total of 6.
Yep. River.
Right. That just hit. Was it D6? Isn't it?
Yep.
Here we go. Did I do that
Well,
right?
you got a 1, and you've spent 2 points. You got a 3.
Right.
So your rowing is not that good.
Shocking.
Yeah.
Shocking. So you start to go around in circles.
No, hang on. I spent 1, did I?
No. You said you were going to spend 2.
Yeah.
You rolled the
You
first
rolled
roll
1.
was a 1.
1, which is typical.
So you got a total of
Right,
3.
guys, I'm going to be back in 2 secs.
You got a total of 3. So you're going to have to stop rowing and rely on Struan to row for you. So these are double-ended oars. So you're going a bit slower than Mim and Louisa.
Mhm.
It takes a bit of time to get to the boys. As you get to the boys, you realise they simply are an orange ball on a bit of rope. There doesn't appear anything other than boys.
Okay.
There's nothing. There's no wires in them. There's no. There's nothing. There's no sensitivity to them, or any surveillance-esque nature to them. So you continue on. And under cover of darkness, after a period of time rowing, you find yourselves below the oil rig.
Okay.
It appears to be quiet above you.
And we see that cage.
Yes.
Are there any other ways that we can see to climb up? Are there any ladders on the legs?
Yeah, so on each of the legs, there are ladders going up and down, or just get ladders attached to the side of the legs with small platforms, maybe 6 foot, maybe 10 feet up above. So you have ladder going all the way down to the sea floor, and a short distance up. You kind of estimate just above high tide or extreme tide. There's a platform on each one. So you think if you could climb onto the platform, you could hoof the kayaks onto them and tie them off, and then climb all the way up.
Yeah, we didn't think about that, did we?
Worth a go.
So what do we have to do?
So you don't have any sailing skills, so essentially you're going to use an athletics to, because it's wavy, you're going to row towards one of the pillars,
Mhm.
and one of you is going to have to try and grab hold of the pillar and pull yourself up. Not going to be easy, so I'm going to ask for 2 athletics rolls, both at 4.
So is that one from each boat you're talking about?
So 1 for the boat to get there, and you're both going to need to do an athletics roll to climb out onto the actual ladder. However, if you both succeed, you can pull the boat up. I'm not going to be mean and just make that could do a dice roll. You both need to get onto the ladder, and you will be able to pull the kayak up with the oars.
Okay.
Otherwise, that's just utterly spiteful. Although, no. So, Struan, you were slowing. River was struggling to keep in unison with you, so stop rowing because he was struggling. So you were doing most of the heavy work. As
So
you
I'm
get,
going to make sure that I take plenty of pleasure in calling River a softie, considering he's meant to be the action man.
Yeah.
I'm going to rib him about this, like for definitely for the next few months at least.
So, boat 1, Louisa and Mim. You need to row in unison to get to the ladder.
Mhm.
So you're looking for 1 dice roll each. Got to beat a 4.
I think I'll put another 2 into it. There we go. Oh, typical.
So you get there and can grab hold of the bottom of the ladder first. Mim, see what you get.
Nice.
That
So
should do it.
you successfully get to the ladder and are both holding on. So you need a basic climb, which is a difficulty of 3. You should be climbing up, and you will be able to drag your kayak with you. So both you roll 1d6 and try to get it's athletics, a DC of 3.
Okay, so I'm going to add 1 point of athletics. So I've got 2 left.
Yep.
So I'm going to roll 1 because I've got to try and keep something back.
Okay. So
yes, there we go. So I've got
so
a 5 in total.
you get to, so are you all going to go to the same pillar or a different pillar?
I think we
Okay.
should probably go
So
to the same one.
Louisa and Mim have to make an extra a dice roll each, a DC 3 to climb up the ladder. But Struan, you arrive at the lower pillar.
Right.
So let's get Louisa and
So do I
Mim
need
out
to
of the
make a
water.
roll?
Yes. 1d6, difficulty of 4. So Mim, you can climb up with the. Let's see what.
Yay!
Yep. So the both of you climb up to the first platform with your kayak. Struan has made his way, has rowed as best he can to the pillar. However, okay. River and Struan are at the pillar. You now need to make another d6 roll, beating 3 to climb up with your dirigible onto the platform.
That's another 5. Yeah, I made it.
Yes, there we go. And I didn't add
Cool.
anything to that, so I've still got 1 point in athletics left. So
So you rope up the kayaks, nice and solid, and you are now on a stone frigate in the middle of Scarpa Flow.
and we obviously didn't see any picket boats or anything when we approached.
Nope. At this point, do you want to have carried your guns with you? The 2 guns you have with you?
I think we have to. Yeah.
Yeah. Cool. You have 1 gun each.
Yeah.
1 gun each. Or do you have more than 1 gun? Definitely have 2.
Yeah, I think we only had the 2, didn't we?
Yeah.
You said earlier we only had the 2.
Yeah. Let's go with 2.
Right, so hang on a minute. Let's have a think about who's the best shot. So what's River's shooting skill?
I'm just checking now. 7.
Right, so I'm going to give you the gun because mine's only 2.
Okay.
So I will give River the gun in our team, in our boat.
Okay. We'll just say that your character. I'm not going to have you hand over the gun
No,
under the water. That's yeah. So whoever has the highest skill in the
It's
gun
got the
in
gun, yeah,
shooting
it makes
has
sense.
got the gun.
Yeah.
Cool.
I've got 4, Roger. I don't know what Min's score is.
Also 4, but you
Oh,
you
it's me
go.
then.
You,
Ladies first.
Yeah, definitely.
I think you're a better shot than me.
Well, I've already shot 2 people in the head so far, so yeah.
Stove one in with a knob carry. So you begin to climb in the darkness up to the base of the oil rig. As you get closer to the top, you start seeing a walkway around the base, and the walkway kind of goes around each of the pillars and almost creates kind of a bridge across them. So all 4 of the supports have got walkways across to them, and you notice that there are extra walkways going to the center that are held from above, creating like a cross section with the cage going through that.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
Now, obviously, none of us have really got any experience of working on oil rigs or anything like that. I think it's fair to say.
No.
So, I guess we're
You've
just going
only
to have
got.
to sort of feel out, just kind of blunder about a bit and see what we can find.
You've all seen Deepwater Horizon, the film.
Yeah.
That's as far as your oil rig knowledge goes.
Yeah.
Maybe some Piper Alpha jokes back in the 80s, but that's it.
Okay.
It's got 4 legs and goes woof. Piper Alpha. So,
Yeah.
how there are on each of the 4 pillars, there is a door or a bulkhead door entering into the base. You also have the cage. Above the cage, there's a chain that goes up, and you can see light where that's heading to, almost like a kind of a moon pool, if it was an underwater thing.
Okay. I mean, are we better to go through one of the bulkhead doors again? The only downside of that is you can't see what's on the other side of it, of course.
No.
So, are any of the okay? Let's be sensible though. Are any of the doors labelled? So, does it say sleeping quarter? I don't know.
01,
Is there a sort of
02, 03, and 04.
perfect?
Just the location of each of the legs. I've got a designated number, so that if you fell in the water, you'd know where you were and can get disorientated.
Fair enough. Mental note, everybody: don't fall in the water.
Shoot. Well, but there's walkways heading towards this cage. I mean, would we not?
Yeah, we could do that.
Have a look at that.
Okay.
Makes sense.
While we're here, is that possible? Can we get closer to it?
Yep. So you're making your way towards the center of the oil rig, and it's this kind of like a square section. You have a square walkway around the cage, and you've got maybe a 3 foot, 4 foot high balustrade each side. So you can't you can't fall in. The cage itself looks out of place. It doesn't look like some kind of galvanized steel or aluminium edifice. This looks like an old cast iron cage. It almost looks like it's made of, kind of looks like it's made of church railings with spikes on the top welded together. If you're honest, it's very gothic.
Can we see into it?
Yes. As you look into it, you each need to make a stability check.
Ooh.
Ability.
And what is that when it's at home? Is that a skill?
Yeah, it's essentially it's a kind of sanity roll.
Sanity roll.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. What's our target?
So target is let's go with it's a 4.
Can we actually add anything to it, or is it just a straight roll?
Straight roll.
Straight roll. Okay.
You can add to it
Yeah.
though, because it's one of the regular skills, right? So you can add
It
to it.
is.
Well, I got a 4, so
Okay.
I'm okay.
Okay.
I'm going to add 1 to it because again, I don't want to be shrieking at this point.
So the issue with
Oh,
stability
bad
is
luck. So failed that.
okay. So okay, we've got 2 successes, 1 failure, 3. Where have we
No.
gone?
No, Struan and I have failed.
Yeah, Struan and Louisa failed.
Okay, so everyone that failed vomits, and there is a body in the cage. So those that you lose 2 stability,
Mm-hmm.
and if you succeeded, you only lose 1 stability.
Okay.
So
Kevin,
yeah.
Kevin, I'm gonna remember to remind Struan at this moment for the next few months, if he would.
Oh no, don't worry. I'm going to get more out of the fact that you're the hard man who couldn't row a boat. So
Yeah.
don't you worry. I'll make sure
I'll
everybody knows it. I'll just
Yeah,
tell
I'm gonna be.
Roddy, I'll tell Roddy,
It
and Roddy will make sure everybody knows about it.
it takes stomach to be a hard man, mate. Yours is just gone over the what's it.
And coordination, which apparently you don't possess.
No, and the vomit just goes down. It hits the wind and goes off. So there's a human body that looks chewed, has no face,
Ugh.
it's no discernible features, doesn't appear to have any clothing, but is a corpse of something that doesn't look bloated. It looks fresh-ish. Hasn't got that bluey, bloated. I've been in the water for weeks. Look.
So what does it look dissolved or chewed
No,
up?
it chewed and eaten. So it's
is that so it looks chewed and eaten, yeah?
yeah. It's something. So it's been eaten by something in the water.
Right.
You can't see how it died, what type of human it is, male or female or whatever. Just that it's a naked person that's been, you've got like half an arm and there's a bone sticking out that's been gnawed at. No hand.
And it's just the one body
Just
in
one.
there
Yeah.
and nothing else.
Are we saying that they're lowering this into the sea and it's getting somewhere? It's delivering food.
I guess your options are they're putting somebody in the cage and dropping them in the sea to drown them.
But that wouldn't
And then
account for the state of the body.
Yeah.
Well,
then
if they left them underwater for
Fishies could,
a bit of time, there are pike, sturgeon, and other cannibal meat-eating fish in the waters that would, even normal fish would just eat flesh that's been damaged.
Yeah.
Seems a bit of a harsh punishment. I mean, if you're going to use, if you think vampires exist, but it occurs to you, if you're putting a vampire underwater, would they survive it? Would any fish that's eaten vampire flesh turn into vampires? Is it a case you've actually got vampire fish living around in the waves of water around here? Just that all that speculation is kind of, without actually knowing, you've got no idea what the cage is for and why there's a body in it.
Guess we might find out in the near future.
Hmm.
And is there some kind of lock? Is there a door
Yes,
lock?
at the top. No, on the side, a kind of out of the church railings of this cage have been made. A door has been made, and there's a padlock holding the door shut.
Okay. All right. Well, should we?
But you can climb onto it and climb up the cage. Looking up, there appears to be a open area and a room up there.
I'm very wary about making any more athletics checks, as I've only got one dice left to spend on it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I mean, just again, and I'm just being, again, I'm not, I don't fancy the idea of failing an athletics roll and dropping into the ocean.
Hmm.
So I'm gonna avoid anything too dramatic. So if it's
So
a case of,
any points you spend now,
yeah,
you will get back next session.
well, I guess
Everything you
we've
spent.
only got a few minutes left, haven't we? So I guess all right.
Yes.
In that case, I'll spend my last remaining athletics point.
I'm going to make it's a simple climbing exercise.
Okay.
Climbing up a chain that's cold, but it's not difficult to climb up this chain. So I'm going to make the
I failed it. I made a 2 because it's not going to be that easy. So
I was well, no. You've got a 1 actually. You got 1 plus 1. Okay.
1 plus
So
1, yeah.
the actual it's a DC of 3. So
Right,
you
so-
fail to grab hold of the side of the cage
Yeah.
and slip back on the railings.
Okay, that's right. I'll just sort of. God, I'm not feeling good. I'll have to. Yeah, I'm not. I said, God, guys, I'm not going to make this. Look at me. I'm in no shape to do this. So why don't I wait here and why don't I just wait here
Until next. Until
I'll
next
wait here and
session.
keep an eye out. You lot, one of you lot, and I start humming "Row, row, row, row your boat" just to calm myself, looking at river.
Well,
Anyone else want to climb the?
yeah, but what good is it if just one or two of us get up there?
Somebody has to live to tell the tale.
I'll give it a go. So what's it? Athletics, yeah.
Athletics, you've got a DC of 3. So if you want to point your points to that, or just roll.
Did it roll? Sorry, I take it because I think I hit twice.
So how many
Roll
points?
3d6 there. How did that work?
Actually,
Did
And
you
you
got-
only roll 2d6.
All right, ignore that. I will roll.
You're only
No,
rolling one.
roll 1d6 and tell me if you're going to spend any points on it.
Yes, I was going to spend two. I was going to spend a point on it.
Spend a point. Roll 1d6. Cool.
Oh, good
No,
lord.
I'm the
You
same.
failed
No.
as well.
Yeah, you can't grab hold of the cage.
Come on, action man, get up there.
You look down your hand that you slipped on and you got Struan's vomit on it. That's why you missed hold. You
Right.
couldn't get. You couldn't grab the cage.
Yeah, wait, go on. Yep.
Remind me, where are you climbing? Where are you trying to climb to?
Into the
Just
moon
grab-
pool type thing above
Yeah.
where the cage is. There's like an open area where the cage is.
Right,
Well,
I'll give it a go. I'll spend 1 point. I've got 3 left, but I think I can manage this with just spending 1. That's the way to do it.
Once again, Louisa is a better man than the rest of us.
So you climb up to the top. Mim, do you want to go?
Come on.
I was hoping I wouldn't have to, but as Louisa's gone up there with such
Aplomb.
ease, yeah, I will spend a point to follow.
Hey, there we go.
Brilliant.
So Mim and Louisa get to the top. As you climb up to the top, you find yourselves in a almost what you're expecting, a room with a big winch at the top, and there appears to be machinery around. But what you do notice, which is kind of odd, is large UV lamps, which are on, pointing to the doors. On each of the doors, there is a big cross, wooden cross on each of the doors.
That doesn't look suspicious at all.
No.
And to the
Yeah.
one corner, there are a pile of 4, maybe 5 dead guys in black special forces fatigues.
Oh,
Hmm.
jeez.
Wow.
That's where we'll leave it.
Brilliant.